Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. This is Andrea with Nutrition Commission. What we're going to talk about again is planning for the year ahead today. And before we can look forward, I think let's just take a minute to address perhaps some of the key things that we know have been contributing to perhaps worsening of symptoms. And I think it's important for us to do that because, you know, one of the ways we can change behaviors is being more conscious of the choices and the consequence of that behavior, rather. So if we look at the year, let's look at it from a high level. All right, what's been going on, right? Well, we've all been binge eating, more carbohydrate, a lot of takeout, again, dual purpose. We're trying to support local businesses, but at the same time, we're ingesting the refined carbohydrates, which spike the blood. We've got the unhealthy oils, the unhealthy fats. We're kind of, using that as our comfort food. So that's kind of one choice that has some pretty drastic consequences, not only to our inflammation, but of course, the blood sugar spikes and as well as the weight gain around the midsection, okay? So that's one other kind of choice or behavior that we want to nip in the bud, myself included. Hi, Diane. And the second would be, let's talk about the lack of movement in our day. Okay. And I've talked about this a lot. You guys, I'm right there with you. Let me just, again, I'm really struggling myself, so I get it. But this sedentary life, sitting all day, whether it be at your computer, and when we're in an office environment, we're getting up to use the restroom, or we're getting up to grab a snack or water, just something, or going to a meeting. In the home environment, obviously, we're just sitting all day long. And then what do we do at night? We're sitting all night long watching TV. So this sedentary life, and I get it with some, depending on where, everybody is, we're in different parts of the world where our weather might not be very inviting, let's just say, to strap on some shoes and let's head out the door for a walk. But the sedentary life, not only is it affecting our symptoms, the many symptoms, it's going to affect, of course, our ability to have good digestion, have good bowel movements. It's needed for our stress as well. And also it helps us just to kind of rest the mind and be able to get a good night's sleep. So that's another thing that's been really wreaking havoc on our health from a 2020 standpoint. Of course, again, the lack of sleep. This is something I am in a really bad habit of doing, but I'll get in bed and I'll scroll myself for another hour and a half, and really not been able to calm the nervous system enough to rest and get kind of situated with my parasympathetic to shift down into sleep mode. So that's another thing I'm sure most of us are doing. And I think I'm trying to think, there's a whole bunch, but again, the poor diet, the lack of sleep because of our sedentary lifestyle, and the fact that we're plugged into news and social media a lot more, scrolling. And of course, our anxiety and depression, I should mention that. Again, because we're not getting enough movement, we're in isolation. And of course, we're not sleeping well. And so we end up taking in more carbs with quick pick-me-up solutions, whether it be the energy drinks, the caffeine, the pastries. So I just want to make sure we all kind of see that vicious cycle, that feedback loop. Do you guys give me a thumbs up if you see what I'm saying? And we're all doing it, and I've been doing it a lot myself the last few days when it comes to a little nibble here, a little pastry there, and I knew that I shouldn't buy even some of these things, but I'm buying it. So it's my own fault. So, hey, Sandy, welcome everyone. Again, if you're just joining, just put a thumbs up and just let me know where you're joining from. If you want to share the country or even the city, state, that's great. And welcome. So we have an opportunity now to start. Okay, we've perhaps seen our symptoms getting worse, especially with just those 3 or 4 behaviors that I've mentioned. Okay, and we all know it. We all know what we're doing. That's never been the problem, right? We know that we might not be doing all of those things that are health promoting, but actually we're hurting our health. Some of the clients that I've been talking to lately too, they're actually seeing their symptoms getting worse, which again is not a surprise, because when you think about sleep, stress, and the diet factors, which are all three that strongly contribute to other comorbidities, other things that start to cascade as a result of your primary condition, because we're all connected. Okay, so let's now shift gears around. What are some ideas? Okay, we all know about food. What can we do in 2021 to reset and regroup our energy? And I highly recommend that. I'm going to give you some ideas, some tips, okay? And I could go on, but take the time, and I'm going to do this myself because my mind is just running, okay? Take the time that we need to regroup a little bit and reset. And what do I mean by that? Could you go off somewhere alone, even if that means you're driving in your car to a place where you can get a nice view of something, and write down 2 or 3 things. Again, just two things that you want for yourself in 2021. And I say that because when we put pen to paper, and again, we can just all put it in our phone, but that almost defeats the point. It's actually in the process of putting pen to paper and, giving our mind a chance to just like settle, we actually tap into those emotions, and it makes us more motivated to actually make those changes, believe it or not. And I've actually had examples where I will do my 5, axes of well-being, and this is even before I became a nutritionist, where I would talk about, these are my financial goals, my physical goals, my emotional goals, so on and so forth. And these are my 3 or 4 pillars, and I would write a couple of goals under those. Okay, so you might even approach it that way. Okay, so it's whatever makes it connect with you. But so you want to take time to go off and actually settle into what are the 2 things that are most important to you for 2021. Okay, and it may be finding more connections with others, and then you can start thinking, well, how do I make that happen? So let me give you some ideas, okay? And again, welcome to everyone who's joined today. But let's just talk about simple things. All right, number 1, parking our car further away from any kind of store door. Okay, so we want to get movement in our day. Okay, hopefully we can get out at least once a day. Even if you have not so great weather, you could also right now go and Google, depending on your condition. So let's just say you have fibromyalgia. If you have fibromyalgia, you could type in right now and say, light exercises for fibromyalgia. And you could get a whole host of perhaps YouTube videos even on some movement that you could do that's going to help improve your mobility and will actually keep you flexible and in less pain. Okay, so that's another thing. You could get a girlfriend or a family member to commit to a walking group, if you will. And this is actually really effective because at the end of the day, it's about the support and accountability, right? So can you get a girlfriend of yours, or again, a family member, who agree to do a meetup, and you do it so many times a week? Okay, so that's another opportunity to create that structure for yourself and accountability, so you just do it. You just don't have to think about it. And you get that social connection that we absolutely need so we don't lose our minds. Let's be honest, okay? You could also think about daily green juicing. That you guys, I'm a big fan of that, as you have probably found out. It's a huge improvement for reducing the inflammation and the chronic pain. You're flooding your body with those critical nutrients, the enzymes that your body needs, and essentially it's like putting the fire out, okay? You could commit to saying, you know what? I want to make sure I'm eating at least, again, if you're not a big veggie eater or you have other digestive problems that prevent you from doing veggies, definitely let's chat. But you could say, okay, I want to start eating at least 2 servings of veggies every day. If green juicing's not your, your thing, and you say, you know what, I know I've got to get more, okay? Because the magic is in the fruits and vegetables, the nuts and the seeds, you guys, whether we like it or not, it just is. So it's really important for inflammation to get more vegetables and antioxidant, chemicals in our body. So I have tons of just simple side dishes, okay? We don't even have to go extreme. And we can send those to you as well if you'd like to try some new simple side dishes, and they're Mediterranean style, which means you get the healthy fats with the vegetable and some really tasty herbs. Okay, so that's another thing you could think about. Where would you start? For sleep, I've said this multiple times before, making a commitment that, you know what, I'm going to start shutting things down an hour before bed. Okay, that's another idea. And of course, the old faithful is committing to the daily water intake. That one is really, really important also. So we want to make sure you take your body weight, you divide it by 2 or divide it in half. That is the targeted ounces you need to drink every day, okay, at a minimum. So those would be some ideas that I have. Again, I could go on and on and on. And I'm hoping that those give you some, help to reduce that overwhelm, that you have to do something, totally change your life from this day to that day. No, you don't. It's just about the action of us taking a step, making sure you stay committed to that one step. When you feel you've mastered that step and you're feeling like, yeah, I've got this in my routine now, you add another one. It's as simple as that. Okay, so hopefully that gives you some, take that deep breath, take the pressure off a little bit. So obviously you all can, rewatch this video today even. So give me thumbs up if any of these ideas, you're like, yeah, I think that's something that I want to zero in on. Because these are really the types of things we need to do. It's very simple. Really, at the end of the day, that hurdle of thinking we have to be perfect and it has to be 100% every time right out of the gate clearly is not realistic, unless of course you're facing a very serious diagnosis like cancer. Okay, that's a little bit different because I had to shift from here to there like that, and it made it a little bit more pressing. But those would be some of my tips. So all my best, take care, and until we talk again, bye-bye.